A special one, and I've wanted people from my fans and people who tune in right now on our Bloomberg show to listen to stories like yours. And Roberto, I want to ask you, why did you come to Miami?
Yeah, I come to Miami for the in Cuba is no freedom. And one day I talked to my mom and I say, okay, I have the two bad news for you. What do you want? Have a new first, the bad or the very bad? And she told me, she cried and told me, what is your problem right now? You going to jail again? You have the problem for the government? No, the problem is more bigger today. It's more bigger. It's more bad. What more bad? Yeah, today I want to go to Miami and I buy a little boat. I'm going to the ocean, and she say, what? Your friends is dead in the ocean. What is the boat? No, I have the little boat. I think it's for me it's the best. It's dead and life, no freedom. But I looking for the freedom. I want live in freedom and the rights. I looking for the rights. I want live in the land freedom in USA. And I escaped to Cuba in 11 in the night. 3 days in the middle of the ocean, no water, no food. I know another bad news for my mother is, she say, what is another bad news? I know the very bad is I have two brothers with me in the little boat. And she cried 3 days and wait for the news. And in the middle of the ocean, no water, no food. And the Coast Guard saved my life. The Coast Guard say, okay, put it down the ocean, the boat, and save your life. And I say, no, I had the collection here in the boat. It say the Coast Guard, are you crazy, man? What the collection? I don't care you got the collection. I said you live and put it down the ocean, the boat. No, the collection, the fine night collection here in my boat. I had the collection here in my boat. And he called the boss, and the boss say, okay, towing the boat and save your life and save your collection. In the middle of the ocean, the Coast Guard told me the rights, and I speak English, and my English is very bad. In the middle of the ocean, why? What do you say? He said, the Miranda rights for you going to immigration prison in USA, you're going to jail, or you're going to prison, you have the rights. For me, it's the best. My first day in my life, I have the rights. Yes.
You had freedom and you had your rights.
Yes.
I want to tell you, Roberto Ramos, I'm going to, for the people that are listening, that are driving from commuting back from their jobs, and right now they're in the highway, and for our fans that listen, that are still working, that turn on the fans, this is such a special show. Roberto Ramos was a very young man. He was 17 years old when he was given, his brother came home and told Roberto, I have good news for you. Don Jose is giving us a job. He needs to move from his house, and we are going to help him move, and he's going to give us money. And Roberto said, good, I'm happy, because there's a big party this Saturday night, and we'll get the money. We'll help Don Jose. We get the money, and we'll go buy American jeans and go pick up girls at the party. Roberto, that day, moving Don Jose, and spending hours moving the old man with many, many boxes. At the end of the move, Roberto and his brother go to collect their monies because the move had ended, and they were anxiously awaiting to go buy, get the money and buy the jeans for the party. And Don Jose says, I'm very sorry, I have no money, young men, but I have something better than money. I have a beautiful picture. It was called The Saxophonist. And this picture is going to bring you more than just a pair of jeans. Take it to Havana, take it to the galleries, and show them. And you could sell it and make much more money. I'm giving you something that this artist won the National President Medal for Arts in the 40s. And this is going to be a powerhouse artist in the 40s, and everybody in the United States know it. He traveled in Europe, and he's going to bring you much more money than me giving you a couple of pesos for jeans. And so Roberto and his brother run. They're excited. They go the next day and they visit all the galleries in Havana. And nobody know who's el nudo
Sobrino, Carlos Sobrino.
Carlos Sobrino, the saxophonist. And Carlos Sobrino, they're holding these two young men, 17 and 19, are holding this Carlos Sobrino. They have no idea what it is. At that point, Roberto really never really in art at all. And he's holding this Carlos Sobrino, excited to sell it to get a pair of jeans, goes to the Havana galleries, knocks on some doors. Nobody knows who Carlos Sobrino is. After several galleries, Roberto turns to his brother and says, Don Jose, he cheated us. Nobody knows who this Sobrino is. Where are so many medallas and national artists and big artists and going to Europe and studying with Picasso? Nobody knows. And Roberto's brother said, no, Roberto, you know that Don Jose is a very serious man. He's not going to lie to us. Something is wrong with this picture. And so Roberto said, I got an idea. I'm going to go to the library and we'll look him up and see if it's for real. And Roberto started on a mission that would totally take over his life. He would be totally absorbed with a brand new life, with something brand new, because it opened a seed deep inside. It opened this feeling that everybody has in their life, in their soul, in their heart. There's something, there's a destiny that God brings to us. And sometimes we don't know what it is. Sometimes we think, oh, this is silly, this is an obstacle, this is something stupid, I gotta go here, and something changes on you. And it's that one little change that is what God brought and opens up this whole vast desire, appetite, hunger for Roberto. He decides to find out who is this Sobrino, and he wants to know if this saxophonist, this picture really is worth money, or is this all lies of just another crazy Cuban making up stories in Havana not to pay two boys for moving, or is this for real? Is this story of Don Jose for real? And as they start studying, and Roberto gets captured and totally in the library day and night. For how many years you were in the library studying about your culture's art?
And this time is one month study and looking for, and I discovered that in Cuba is very bad for the government destroy the history, and recuperation the history in Cuba before 1950. The Cuba is a very high class. The people is freedom. The magazine, the television, and the Cuba is a very high class. And Cuba is not that Cuban in my. I born in 1965, and the problem is in the Cuban destroy the history, putting the books in the tracts, and the name the Carlos Sobrino is very famous. For the government destroy the name too.
And you found out that it wasn't just Carlos Sobrino. It was so many artists that because Castro came into power, like many dictators do, whatever existed prior to them is evil. It destroys the minds of the new revolution, of the new Communist Party. So anything that came prior to 1959 was either going to be thrown in the basement of some national university archives, or it was going to be just simply destroyed and not taken. They were stupid. They were awful works. They were, devils. They were whatever it wasn't for Castro to ever empower anything prior to him. And you as a young boy, at that moment, that month that you spent in the library, that told you, oh my God, what other Sobrinos are out there that we don't know, that I don't know about? Because these pictures that I'm seeing, and as you as a young boy keep capturing all the history of your beautiful Cuba, the most important city in the world for the 17th and 18th century. It was Paris, it was Cuba, it was New York. Anybody with money would go to Havana, the Italian contessas, the Spanish contessas. They would want to go there and be seen, and beautiful pictures with their petticoats and their hoop skirts, all in the National Palace, sitting outside next to, drinking a beautiful tea out there with an artist painting. These are some beautiful Cuba was the European treasure of the Caribbean.
Yes, I'm discovering this, and this day changed my life. And this day is a new life for me. For I discovered the government is very bad. It's a liar. It's don't have information. The information is not true. And research for 25 years and every day research, looking for the magazine, newspaper, books, and arts. The art saved my life.
The art saved your life.
Yes.
And I have to tell you, saved my life too. I have to tell you, it really did.
That's your passion.
It's my passion, and when I meet people like you, I know that God walked me the right path. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I studied in the university. I have 3 degrees, Bachelor of Science in Economics, Business Management, and Hospital Administration. And it was because of 2008 and the crash of our American economy that I couldn't find a job to save my life. And I had 2 kids, small kids to feed. And it was somebody inviting me to an art walk where I saw 10,000 people in Wynwood. And I said, my God, I could throw a bowling ball any day of the week and not hit one person. Where are these 10,000 people coming from? And they were there for art. They were there to see and engage and meet and greet. And all of a sudden I went, oh my God, I know exactly what I want to do and need to do. And I ran home, and I was 25 years timeshare for Marriott in Fairfield doing marketing. And it hit me. No, none of the tourists knew about Wynwood. Every local was coming once a month, but nobody managed to talk to the turismo, to 12 million tourists coming to Miami. So in 2009, I became passionate. I hit the books. I hit Google University in my time, you know, and in your time too. But, you know, in Cuba, of course, it'd be different.
Yeah, 1982. And the art is very good passion. For the art, it's a freedom. It's the more important expression for the human. It's a art. It's a freedom. And the art saved my life. And today, I save the artists and the art. And spiritually, the art is a best for the spirituality, for the heart.
Yes.
The heart is for me is the best. My life changed in 1982 for only help the old men, and the old men take in the little painting. This day my life changed.
Your life changed.
Forever.
I gotta tell you, the story is such an amazing story, and I know that if we were to Google Roberto Ramos Miami or CubaOcho, your story comes out in books and CNN, and yet when you decided to open up CubaOcho in 1995, when did you open CubaOcho?
CubaOcho, I opened in 2008.
2008. And 2008, 5 years ago, no, un poquito más, no?
Yes.
A little bit more. So you opened up CubaOcho, and it is an art center and research center where you now have the opportunity to bring your beautiful collection, which now is visiting many museums around the world. But I want to, for those that are listening to us, that are tuning in to this show, I want you to understand what Roberto Ramos did, how he risked his life. When he submerged himself in the libraries in Cuba and in the university, National University of Cuba, where he could find more research, and he sat there for days and days and months, and he learned not only about Sabrino, but other fabulous Cuban artists. He learned the fabulous story of 2 gorgeous artists, Sonia
Sanchez
Araujo and Oscar Gutierrez Rivera.
Yes.
And he learned about these 2 beautiful Prince Kelly, the Prince and the Princess of Cuba, the most celebrated artistic couple. And Roberto starts reading this, and he realizes what a good-looking couple, and he sees letters, he finds letters of Eisenhower inviting them to Washington, D.C. to have dinner, and he sees, and you're going to correct me if I say anything wrong, and he sees all these beautiful magazines of the Social and beautiful, and this is a celebrated couple, and then he continues to read more and more, and he realizes that Oscar, when Castro takes power, all the artists leave Cuba, all the rich people leave Cuba because they realize they're going to be thrown in communist prison or labor camps or the insane asylums. So Oscar is a celebrated artist, but his brother, who works in the regime of Castro goes to his brother's house and say, please, Oscar, don't leave. I will protect you and Sonia. Don't leave. Stay here, my brother. Stay, and you will be protected. Castro gave me the word. I will protect you. I'm part of the top military for Castro. And Oscar decides to stay, and he stays in Cuba. But then, as any artist, like you say, an artist paints about the past, the present, and the future. And Oscar, who had painted the most beautiful pictures of gorgeous women, women with beautiful dresses, women with beautiful pocketbooks, and the beautiful rumbas and pictures of their people and the culture. All of a sudden, Oscar saw no more beauty, no more glamour. Tell us about that story a little bit.
Yes, Oscar put an exhibition in 1962, and the problem is he going to the street, and he say in the street, and he paint this day. He see in the street. And the problem is he going to the street, the problem is military people in the street, and the woman putting a uniform military, the children putting arm and military for the war. And problem the Oscar is he put the exhibition, and the government, the political government going to the exhibition, put it broken the painting, and you put in jail and broken the hand for no paint more. That's a very problem for the artist. Is a suicide.
He's suicide. So this story, I remember, Roberto, when I met you, you explained your passionate story of your life and how art changed your life, and how these figures, as you sat there in the library and started to see these beautiful, amazing, talented artists that the world celebrated, but your own people in Cuba didn't know about. As this story unfolds with Oscar, where he goes to the streets and he sees that there's no more glamour, there's no more beautiful, the people are beautiful, but they're dressed in these fatigues and army, and the women, instead of having a nice purse, they have a rifle, and the children, instead of being in church clothes or the pride that the beautiful Cuban people would have, all of a sudden they were stripped with army fatigues, young children with rifles as well. And Oscar soon starts to paint these stories on canvas, and the Cuban government learns that he's painting this ugly picture of Cuba, but it was a real picture. It was a new Cuba. It was the Castro Cuba. It was no more beautiful women and beautiful tea parties and this, and it was kids and women in fatigues. That really enraged Castro, arrested Oscar. When they throw him in prison, they ask Oscar Gutierrez Rivera, with which hand did he paint? She signals the hand he paints with. All the soldiers begin to break every bone in that hand. Soon after, Oscar commits suicides and dies. At that moment, with that story and many other stories that you're reading, as you close yourself as a young child in the library, it's starting to absorb your body, your veins, your mind. Everything is becoming this big story, a story that no one's telling, that no one's talking about, that the whole world will never know of. If you don't jump in that ocean, in the Rosita, which was an 18-foot boat, no, 18?
Yes.
18-foot boat, all wood, you decide in 2 years' time, you're going to collect 14 of the most important artists. You find out who they are, where their aunts or uncles may live. You go visit, you see who still might have an Oscar Gutierrez Rivera, who still might have a Sonia Silvia Fernandez Arro. You find out who has all these wonderful paintings, the Mijares, and other paintings that you start to collect in your collection little by little. You start with your first 14, and you say, Mama, I have to go. I'm going to come back rich. I'm going to come back and send with you. And I can imagine, mijito, tú estás loco. What friends are you hanging with now? What drugs are you doing? What alcohol are you doing? But you had only one drug, the drug of passion, of art.
Yeah, and freedom in Cuba is don't have freedom. And the freedom, the men love the freedom or no. Maybe a man don't know the freedom, but I love the freedom. Inside the heart, I have the freedom. In Cuba, I don't have freedom for nothing. For here in Miami, I'm research for 25 years, and today my personal collection is around the museum. That's the first time the personal collection, the Cuban painting, inside the museum in USA. That's good. For 25 years later, that's my dreams. My dream is real.
My dream is to see a big movie, and I want to pick the stars if possible. I already got several in mind. Antonio Banderas, no. But you know, and I know the movie will be made, and it should be made. And I know you've been several directors and people have spoken to you, and I pray to God that God will bless you with everything in mind, that the director, from the script writer to the director, is just blessed with understanding and seeing and delivering a powerful story onto the screen. And I pray that it's not in Spanish, only because I want to see this story told and win awards and Oscars and go all around the world and schools, because your story is an amazing story, Roberto. Your story is a story that 1 in a million, I would even say 1 in 10 million in this world really gets to have that seed that gets sparked inside, and without knowing, just going with it and not knowing, and maybe that same freedom that was taken away from you in Cuba gave you the opportunity to passionately spend hours as you lived your mind, that freedom, that through the stories of these artists, through seeing what they went through. Every time Oscar went to Washington, I'm sure you as a young boy, you were Oscar for that moment reading the story. When you read about another one going to Picasso in Paris or Matisse, you were that man for that story. And all of that must have been going right through your blood. So when it gave you the day, the ammunition, those 14 paintings, and you said, I'm taking my brothers, we're going with food, we're going to make it, we're going to map this out, we'll be in Miami in 2 days, we'll be millionaires. Well, when that Mother Nature, when that Mother Nature sea hits, and you're sitting there, within 2 hours the night hits, what goes through your mind?
Yeah, my mind today, I remember the Coast Guard man told me in the middle of the ocean, welcome to land freedom. For me, it's the best in my life. This day say, I have the rights, my first time in my life. I have the rights. Yes, that's my best day in my life.
Because even though you were being arrested, someone was reading you rights.
Yeah, I have the rights. In Cuba, you don't have rights, don't have freedom. And I have the right and freedom, and I working every day 14 hours. I working for doing best for me, for the people. I do in CubaOcho. You're going to CubaOcho in Little Havana, and you say in 1 minute the difference for the energy, for the arts. The people is very, very happy in this place. For the place is the Miss the Art. It's a new concept, Miss the Art. The art is a music, writing, painting, books, research, wedding, everything around the good spiritually for the music and the art meet as the best concept for me.
I think it's fabulous. And when I walked into that place, like I was saying before, I went in there, I met you, and you have this fabulous story, and you love. And I loved to, when I heard the story, I remember I cried like a baby because I couldn't hold it back. I am very passionate of the arts, and hearing your story to me was, oh my God, here, you know, I feel like so empowered as just a person, understanding the challenges that you took, and that with those challenges, you didn't take them as a person, oh, I'm going to go, mama, like I was, you know, that was more of a joke, of course, to tell your mother, I'm leaving, I'm going to come back, I'm going to make it in Miami, I'm going to send for you. Yes, that was one thing, but the truth was, you wanted everybody to listen and save this culture of Cuba that was lost and no one would have ever known about. People in Cuba don't know these artists. In the States, they might know it, but the younger generations, and to go back, into the island, like in Cuba. Everybody knows CubaOcho in Cuba. Yes. Everybody knows your story in Cuba. More than maybe here in the States, which is now starting for people. One person tells the story, one person goes out and says the story. And so this is an amazing story to be told. And so when I decided to pick up the phone and tell my artist, you know what? I am going to do a Little Havana art experience. I am going to do a tour and bring people to Little Havana. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to take them to Domino's Park. I'm not going to take them to the Bay of Pigs. Of course, I'll do that. But that's going to be such a small part of my tour. I will discuss the history in U.S.-Cuban relationships with the Bay of Pigs and why Republican and what happened with John F. Kennedy and the whole story. And I will go and I will start and take you to cigar rolling places. And I will take you to see Tower Theater. And I will take you to more art galleries. But there's one place and only one reason you go to Little Havana is to meet Roberto Ramos and to see the fabulous collection of spanning from 1800 to 1958. That is the story of Little Havana, of Cuba, of Roberto Ramos. We're going to be right back after these commercial breaks with Art Talk with Susana Baker and the creative founder, Roberto Ramos. We'll be right back after these commercials.